And now another huge moment. Is he actually going to take on a2? He is. He
Wow.
is. Oh my gosh, Peter. I can't watch. I think I need to leave the room.
This was for me the greatest game of the World Chess Championship so far. We're into the 7th round. Gukesh D's got the white pieces and he pops a springer on the f3 square. He's not yet played this opening move. Ding Liren has a think and pops a pawn on d5. Incredible game. What a climax. We see g3 now played. g6, both players build the banana hammock. d4 takes the center. Bishop g7 and the explosive c4 is on the board, met with the stalwart pawn to c6, and now after bishop g2 we've got ourselves a Catalan, named after a famous chess playing cat called Alan. Very few people know that, and he recently even took up commentary on chess.com with Danny. Incredible animal. We now see knight f6 played. Both players get the kings out of dodge. Quick king safety fist bump, exploded out, and these are the common moves for white here, but none of them played by Gukesh. He's been home, deep in mama's home cooking, and he comes up with rook e1. Very, very rare move. You know, looks super weird, not developing a minor piece or doing something about the attack on this pawn here, and it causes Ding to go into a big chill Ding Liren think, and he finally takes on c4 after about 30 minutes. Bro basically froze. Ice baby, keeping MC Hammer happy, and after this move it's on Gukesh to show the follow-up point. Of course it's e4, taking all the central space at the cost of a pawn, and now you can, after bishop g4, getting that one outside the pawn chain because e6 is on the way, knight bd2, go b5 here and cement your extra pawn. But Ding completely goes his own way here, full Fleetwood Mac. By the way, the pawn's not under fire. You know, you take, and yes, you win a queen, but you lose a minor piece. Ding Liren goes c5 on the board, and it's given a question mark here because it's not that you actually want to take and make your own structure a bit dodgy, but d5, the thrusting forward advance, takes control of this knight hopping into this square and really cuts black's position in half. This knight's on the way, then you might be in danger of getting steamrolled if white can ever protect d5 here. So black has to play carefully. e6, basically the only move to break up the central structure. And now you can take on c4 already, but Gukesh goes for this h3 move. This captures was played. Now we see the bishop's take back, staying on the long diagonal. The knight wants to capture here, so takes in the center played, giving white the Isolani, but it's now a passed pawn, and you don't want to go winning that. Terrible move, because after knight takes on c4, there's a double attack on d5 here. b7's also weak. If the knight moves, it's absolutely terminal. You have to develop your pieces. So knight bd7 played, given the exclam as the only good move. So Gukesh picks up his pawn, and you have to play with energy with the black pieces here. You know, give white a chance, and d6 is on the way, opening the bishop. Then knight e5 could come in some lines if you try b5 in the wrong fashion. So it has to come straight away. Kick back this knight. Gukesh sticks it on the edge of the board here, completely forgetting the commonly uttered maxim by Magnus Schwarzenegger.
Der Springer und den Brimmer ist absolut wie eine Schnitzel.
And after this queen b6, covering b5, we don't yet see d6 played. Sure, it looks nice, opening the laser, but after the rook slides to the center here, well, actually, this pawn could become overextended. You know, the knight can always hop back as well, support the attack. So instead, we see the calm and cool bishop f4, stacking the clergyman. They're firing across the board. Rook fe8, queen d2 connects the rooks, and it's such a fascinating battle. You know, why not go c4, knight c5 to d3? Yes, it's a nice maneuver, but white's got countershot ideas with this kind of maneuver, and into here if you then play d6. Real cat and mouse battle. So Ding just centralizes a master blaster. good plan. We're playing for rook ad1 to set up the overpowered rook cube, but no. Knight c2, spawning a seahorse, re-entering the game, and it really sharpens up in just a moment. What should Ding do here? Well, I don't love what he does. You could trade the rooks, then maybe look for knight e8 to d6 blockading. Possibly push an h-pawn here, even as a gambit to distract the bishop. Look for knight e5. But he plays knight f8, an absolute donkey of a piece now, sits on that square for a long time, and Gukesh doesn't need asking twice to seize the initiative, which he does before Ding can re-enter the game. This is what he's looking for, using the pin, the rook to the queen here. Now, how does Ding respond? There are many rich lines, right? We're going to stick with the game here. He advances with the most explosive pawn push. Looks really natural, of course. That's a protected passed pawn. But of course, it gives up this dark squared complex. Where's the queen going? Staying on the dark squares looks kind of natural, but it slides to a6. Very tricky idea, keeping an eye on this pawn here. So now we see the centralization. That is very much a wooden shield. What a piece. And after rook takes on e1, rook recaptures, leaving this pawn to hang. The game goes absolutely nuts here. We're about to dive in on it. And just before we do, final shout out. I've been going on about it. Remote Chess Academy, link in the description. It's the absolute last day of Cyber Monday, up to 80% off. Stop stalling on it. Check out the Road to 2000 course. It's been selling like wildfire. Such a good course. Finally do it this coming year. And there's even the super bundle on a huge sale. Fire discount, right? Get in there while you can, while it lasts. Back to this game here. Now, why don't we see the pawn captured in the center? Well, this is just simple tactics, right? You take here, and now the piece hangs, not with the queen, but with the bishop. This is no good. Check could be on the way as well, so there's no need to worry about pins. Okay, that covers that one. What was the best move? Rook e8, technically, but what wasn't a good move? Taking the pawn on a2.
And now another huge moment. Is he actually going to take on a2? He is.
Wow.
He is. Oh my gosh, Peter. I can't watch. I think I need to leave the room.
At least technically not good, according to Stockzilla. But Ding was getting a bit squeezed, right? So this is a way to drum up some counterplay here. Because after rook a1, your queen's not quite trapped. It can come to b3 here. There was this crazy ninja line, by the way, with c3. Counter-attack on the queen. Won't go into all of that stuff. But this move was played and it picks up a tempo on the bishop. This is key. And after rook a3, attacking the queen, defending the bishop, then you've got the check. The queen's just staying alive like a true BG. Now we get king g2, and this is really sweet because after Ding defends the pawn here, surely you take it, restore the material. Black's a pawn ahead, remember, but no. Gukesh plays a move here that Peter Lecco called out of this planet. He goes for rook a5 here, a kind of collinear move, not crashing through, but just stopping short. And it's really hard to cover this pawn. A6 not feasible. Rook b7, very passive, and running into, d6 and opening the bishop. Horrible, horrible. So instead, Queen b3 is played for counterplay. You could take straight away, but Gukesh goes for a bit of tickle here. Not literally, of course. That hasn't been seen over the board in quite a few years now. And after the rook retreats, rook a5, queen b3, Ding's absolutely praying for that pogo stick draw. We see Gukesh crash through on b5 here. It's game on. Now, the next move, called a mistake, right? But it's an excellent randomizer. How are you actually going to play here? The time's getting lower for both players. Don't capture the queen, because after pawn takes, you pick up a valuable tempo on the knight, and bang, it's running just a square away from queening. And the real issue is that you distract this bishop on f3, then the central pawn can drop, bishop opens up, knight re-enters the game. It's counterplay, it's a level position. So the queens weren't exchanged bishop e3 best apparently, but queen f4 was played, and it allows this exchange of pieces. Was one of the top two lines here. Bishop recaptures, and now Ding, to his credit, finding an excellent defensive resource. He slides back with the queen despite the mangled pawn structure he's about to give himself. No time to move away with the white queen or the bishop drops. So we do see takes, saddling Ding with this structure that only a mother could love. Horrible, horrible. And bishop g5 looks natural to keep the bishop pair, but then this one stays on the monster diagonal. The pawn can push to c3. It's not obvious. So takes is played, giving up the bishops. King recaptures, but then rook c5. Nice safe advantage. Gukesh is about to press. We see knight g6. Finally, the donkey re-enters the game. Now takes on c4 played. What's the material count? Gukesh now pawn ahead and with a much better structure. What a monster this is. And after knight e5, going to fork Vegas, rook d4, we don't see an exchange. The king marches in super fast, horrible structure, pass pawn. It's a lost endgame. So this knight pops itself back on c6. Great tricky move. Takes, the rook drops, and you can come round behind the passed pawn. So that's why rook f4. Now you're preparing to take the knight. So it drops to e7, covers f5, also attacks d5, and b5 is a real cool, calm, clamping move, saying you take me, I take you, and this is actually better for white. You've suddenly opened the eyes of the bishop, even though you've lost that passed pawn. This is still a horrible structure. White is significantly better here. So it wasn't played. Ding correctly brings in the king here, now covering the f-pawn, threatening to win d5, covered now with the rook, and after this move of h6, king f1, Gukesh creeping round towards the centre in some lines, not like a knight, whoops. We now see a mistake from Ding, but it's move 40, right? His final move before the time control when they get given back more time. What should he play here? Well, the maneuver knight c8 to d6 blockading is the order of the day, and he's got to try and grovel on. But he plays king e5, natural move to attack the rook, cover this square, all with tempo, but you encourage the rook over to attack this pawn, and you can no longer defend with the king. It's not allowed to move like a knight, but imagine it was here, you could get back and cover. As it is now, though, there's a problem, because after knight takes on d5, now blur white's crashing through, and you've got this passed h-pawn running, and just running it back. If rook d6, by the way, covering, then there's this awesome switcheroo hitting this one. Rook d7 covers, but now you've got rook a6 hitting two weak points. It's absolutely terminal. So this is how the game proceeded. H-pawn could be running. So Ding goes for this randomizer, knight c3. It's a great move because it hits the pawn and it offers white the chance to go wrong if you play bishop c6. So natural. Not played though. We're in the analysis mode. Back cave. Because now you can check. Invade with the rook. You're rotating the knight into e4. It's pressure here. If pawn takes, it could be running. It's a bit dangerous. There are drawing chances. But Gukesh finds the phenomenal move of rook to c6. And now if you take the pawn, simple tactics, check, win the piece. Rook can't intercept, bishop's on the square. So that one not touched. Instead we see knight e4, but you've now consolidated. The h-pawn can run, and it's what Gukesh should do. Push 'em, baby, as Yasser Serwan would say, but not played. King e1, and it's a mistake here. Losing a valuable tempo, and not for much of a good reason, because now f6 is played. Great move, cutting the white connection from the support of this pawn and the checking line in some lines in case the king was running round and the f-pawn had moved. And you open the rook on this rank. It's a different game. h4 is now pushed, but rook d3 pressures the bishop, again puts a question to Gukesh. King e2 playable here, also takes on e4, but he drops back with the bishop, looking for bishop c2. Surely this is a winning endgame, right? How fast is this one running? But there's a phenomenal resource here for black. Liren finds this move. He goes pawn to f4. Only move to keep drawing chances alive, and wow, what a line it is. Because if you carry on with bishop c2 here, you can capture on g3. Hang on, you've just given an entire rook, yes, but this one pushes. You don't take. That's not the idea. And because the king's cut, you're about to make a queen. The rook's cut, of course. Remember the pawn on f6. Absolutely crazy stuff. And if you go f4 check to bring the king in like this or something, eliminate the knight, whatever, well, now it simply moves or takes, but this is even stronger. And what to do? You can't stop the pawn. Absolutely incredible line. Apparently still almost level because of this fortress style thing, but what an incredible moment that would have been. However, Gukesh sees he can't go bishop c2. He takes with check correctly, brings in the black king here. What a stallion this is, holding the f6 pawn, and after bishop c2, trying to get rid of these nasty pieces, we see rook d5, centralizing. What a blasting cannon. So rook c4 played, converging on the pony, covered with f5, great move. Rook b4 comes behind the pawn, protects it. King f3, marching in, preparing to win the f pawn. So this one checks away the king. It slides all the way into g2. I mean, what an incredible journey this is, whichever squares it went to. What a walk. And after rook b3, it sets a really sneaky trap. Because if you crash through here like this, then whack, you get checked like this and you're winning an entire rook. So don't do that. That's why instead we see rook e5, a counter tactic. Knight preparing to move, x-ray on the king, win a rook or something, but bang, Gukesh fights back with f4. No time for discovery, you lose your rook. So that's why we see this rook backpedal into e7, covering the all-important 7th rank. This rook now intercepts from the e3 square. Rook h7 goes for the pawn, it pushes, knight f6, and the big question, of course, is can Gukesh make the most of this extra pawn, distracting the white pieces, or the black pieces rather. He goes after this one. We see an exchange of prisoners. The knight's about to drop, saves itself, hits the rook. Don't blunder something low on time. Look at the clock on the left. They're both really low. Freddy the f-pawn's running. Rook b7 goes for this one, and bishop a4 covers. This is tense. The king's running in now. f5, trying to catch it, can't do so, too fast, and now the knight rotates round, and watch this. Bishop c2, very sneaky trap once more, because it gives this pawn, but if you take it, bam, you take. King recaptures, and again the f-pawn's running. You can start with a check, for example. Either line works. Now it runs and you just can't stop it. This is a one endgame. I think Gukesh knows that checkmate. So we come back. Knight d6 is played, rotating into the defense. Rook d8 attacks it, king e5 covers, and bishop b3. Swinging round. Yes, this one's dropping, but this one's pushing. If takes, you can go for some sacrificial stuff. Didn't click down that line, but in the game we get the knight blockading. Now the king's about to take the pawn. What a Herculean defensive effort from Liren, unbelievable. And after rook d5 check, this pawn drops. There was nothing better. And now the white king just simply marches in. The material balance has been restored. The rook trade is offered. The knight bounces in. Yes, the king covers, but bang, just giving 3 points for 1 point, because this is the point. After this pawn drops, you cannot checkmate with a bishop. We get ourselves another draw after 72 moves, but this was anything but a boring one. Absolutely fighting game. Loved every minute. Hope you did too. And don't forget to check out the link in the description. Remote Chess Academy, final day of this massive discount on the incredible courses. Don't miss out. Hope to see you again on a future video, and cheers.